John Calamos is a familiar face to viewers of CNBC and to members of the financial services industry worldwide.
Here we are with Apple reaching new highs.
But driven by his personal history, John believes his investment in heritage may provide the most significant returns. Calamos is the founder and chief executive officer of Calamos Investments, the global asset management company. He's the civic-minded businessman behind Citygate Center in Naperville, the office, hotel, and retail complex that is also the corporate campus for his company. The firm also has offices in London and New York. John is a pilot and Vietnam veteran, the author of 2 books and multiple articles on the financial markets. But ask him of what he's most proud, and he doesn't hesitate: his heritage as the son of Greek immigrants.
The saying I use a lot is, you don't know where you're going unless you know where you've been. And that is a terrific strength of character. You don't let somebody else decide who you are. You know who you are.
It's easy to see where John Calamos gets his love of heritage. The family started in the hills filled with sheep herders and olive orchards. George Kalamotsos was probably born around 1775 in the village of Kokoni, the beginning of lineage that would reach around the world. John is a descendant of those generations, and like the Greek dreamers of old who stood on the peak of Mount Parnona in one of the highest villages in Arcadia, they could see across a sparkling sea to America. John's grandfather Evangelos was first, arriving April 17, 1908, at Ellis Island. He would not be the last.
My father was very proud, as my mother was, of their heritage. And looking back on that, it gave me a lot of strength of character.
His parents ran a grocery store in Chicago's Austin neighborhood for 30 years.
We lived above the store, so we had a terrific pantry. The whole store was our pantry.
John cleaned the floors, stocked shelves, and had 3 paper routes.
I think the one thing my family learned there is a terrific work ethic. You know, we worked very, very hard all the time.
At 19, he talked his mother into allowing him to invest the family's $5,000 savings, and after painstaking research, bought 3 stocks, including Texas Instruments, Brunswick, and a little company that would come to be known as Alcoa. Investments that years later would help ensure his parents' comfortable retirement.
My mother, she inspired me, but she also, I guess, was my biggest fan. My mother had a lot of confidence in me, and I appreciated that.
At his mother's urging, he became the first in his family to go to college. First at the University of Illinois to study electrical engineering, then IIT, where he studied economics, joined the ROTC, and earned an MBA.
I just don't want education to be really confused with vocation. You know, you don't go to school to get a job. You go to school to learn how to think. You go to school, that's the transformation. The most important course I took at IIT, here you have great engineering school, architectural school, business school, Stewart School of Finance, was philosophy.
In 1965, John headed to the flight school at Webb Air Force Base in Big Spring, Texas. Suddenly, the kid from Chicago's West Side, who'd never been in an airplane, found himself among students from the Air Force Academy, some of them licensed pilots.
All of a sudden, I'm in this very competitive situation, and 1 year later, I'm flying supersonic jets at night in formation in 1 year. And we only graduated 32 or 33 out of the 60 some. When people say, boy, this job is tough, I said, that's tough. This total immersion, getting my Air Force wings, to me was a terrific personal accomplishment. It was physical, it was mental. I'm really proud of the fact that I could get my Air Force wings.
John served 5 years of active duty, including a year in Vietnam, where he flew nearly 900 combat missions, often under enemy fire.
I learned a lot. I learned a lot about about who I was, and risk-taking. Flying airplanes is risky, so the more you know, the better you can handle the risk. And you have risks that you know about and unknown risks that may come up. And so knowledge is one thing that helps you handle those risks.
Following his tour of duty, John was in the reserves. At the same time, he was studying investing and risk management strategies, and was one of the early investors and experts in convertible bonds, corporate bonds that can be converted to stock. In 1977, convertibles became the foundation of his new company.
It's all about how you manage that risk rather than not taking the risk. So what I've tried to do over my career in finance is really build strategies around how can we best manage risk in the financial markets.
He is chairman of the board of Chicago's National Hellenic Museum, the only museum in the nation dedicated to preserving the heritage and culture of Greek Americans.
One of the things the museum is all about to highlight is the way the Greek Americans have lived the American dream. The contribution that the Greek Americans have made to the United States. It's very important that we document that going forward. I am very, very concerned that if we don't do it in this generation, it'll be lost forever. So I think it's really important that we try to do the best job we can to preserve that and give that strength of heritage to the children.